Well, hello there, St. Luke's. Good to be back with you all for this midweek message. This is August 29th, Thursday morning. Sitting here grateful for a wonderful clergy retreat, short that we went on this past last week. Thank you for your prayers. And just as I have been mentioning, preparing spiritually, intellectually, all the various ways for this fall. And with that preparation, I'm also approaching three really, sort of milestones of my 47th birthday. So it's hard to me. I used to think that was such an old number, but here we are. So and I'm just living into the cliches of being of the old man, and particularly with the dad jokes. That's one of the ones I'm just leaning heavily into that one. So as my children know, and as they've grown already. But there we go. But I'm approaching that. Liza and I are approaching our 21st wedding anniversary by God's grace. And also we're rounding the corner, and we are already into the third year of this transition of my life as your rector here. And so all of these things combined have sort of brought some reflection, and as I've been mentioning in various forums, and in a good way, because if you had told me, as I've said, when I got into the business, as it were, when I was in college, that the ministry that I would be given would be increasingly countercultural to the degree that it has become, I wouldn't have believed you. As I've said before, I always thought, of course, you would have, you would be an evangelistic person, and that you would have discussion and dialogue with people of other faiths and unbelievers, and there would be this sort of challenge to do the work of ministry, to proclaim the faith of Christ crucified into the world. But I didn't, and I don't know if anyone really could have appreciated the degree to which, in our particular context, I mean, even here in South Carolina, in Hilton Head, South Carolina, that some of the foundational convictions and commitments of the Christian faith would be considered so out of step with many in sort of polite and sophisticated society. I mean, questions about the men and women and the use of our bodies and marriage and child rearing and all of these various things that for over millennia in the life of the church, and certainly in sort of broad brush in Western Christendom, were sort of part of the water, were taken for granted, are now certainly not only not being taken for granted, but in many cases actively being opposed. And so that's where we find ourselves. I didn't know. You don't get the old adage about wars. You don't get the war that you train for. You get the war that you're in the middle of. And so this is the battle that we have been called to stand firm within. As we will hear this Sunday, our battle is not against flesh and blood, but against princes and principalities of the world of the air, as Paul tells his church in Ephesus. And nothing has changed. Nothing has changed except that we have to be wise, and we have to be vigilant and diligent in our preparation, both of ourselves and then by extension those with whom we have any over whom or with whom we have any sort of influence or responsibility. So why do I say all that? Well, it's been questioned to me, which is a good question for the captain of the ship, for lack of a better word. Where are we going and why? What direction is this? And I commend you the three rectors forums that we dedicated to the questions: where have we been, where are we now, and where are we going, which are the end of June. I think I will be able to link those somehow. I will link the first one at this. I think I know how to do that. At any rate, I commend those to you if you want to hear sort of more explicit. But in broad brush terms, I look ahead at both the responsibility of being a father in my own home, and then by the spiritual father of the household of God here. And you look at doing the work of ministry, as Paul says in Ephesians 4, is to equip the saints for the work of ministry. And what is the work of ministry? Well, that would be, in part, the ability to fulfill the promise that we proclaim at the end of our baptismal liturgy. Some of you I know, when the little babies get baptized, or the adult for that matter, gets baptized, we say together, we welcome the baptized, and then we say, we receive you into the fellowship of the faith of the church, confess the faith of Christ crucified, proclaim his resurrection, and share with us in the royal priesthood of all his people. Well, I would submit to you that in part, the ability to be able to confess the faith of Christ crucified with confidence, courage, with gentleness, humility, but also with some conviction, well, to be able to do that, to proclaim his resurrection, and then to, by extension, share in the benefits, the blessing, the joy, the peace of living in God's kingdom both the kingdom that is in this world but not of it, as Jesus said. Well, that is the work of ministry, because what that means is that you will then be salt and light to the world. That you will be like a city on a hill that cannot be hidden. That you will be, in fact, the hands and feet of Jesus in and through your life and into your family, into your neighbor. You will begin to be able to love them by sharing with them the love that you have been shown in Christ. And so, why do I say all that? Well, I also listen to and read a lot of books and podcasts, as you know, about why people are leaving the church, why what's wrong with this generation, or what is the objections here, and I find some of it quite interesting, and it's a little bit of a professional development for me. But one of the things that has really happened is that whether inside or outside the church, there has been a great sort of de-enchantment, as we will be talking about, of the world. Between the sort of the technologization of everything, sort of everything's being sort of broken down into binaries, ones and zeros. To the sort of increased ability to track and put a metric on everything. I have something that I'm about to get rid of that tracks my sleep. I mean, I'm probably way behind. Many of you probably do this, but I was reflecting on this and saying, sleep is one of the great gifts of God. We actually look at going to our eternal rest. We've earned our rest, and yet now I wake up with a sense of either joy or a sense of shame about how I slept. Too much caffeine, went to bed too late, you tossed and turned, not enough REM, and all these things. And I just reflect on that as a symptom of an overarching problem, which is that the world has increasingly lost its sense of majesty, of mystery, of enchantment, of something of God's presence with us. And so I'm part of this world with you, and I see the pull. I have experienced that pulling away from a sense of awe and wonder, and we are doing everything we can to re-enchant the world with the tools that we have been given and by the power of the Spirit through the word and work of the church. And so, as I've said before, beginning with children, beginning with people that are coming back, or not beginning, continuing with people coming back. Even at no point in your life, no matter what your age, can you not be in need of being brought to a more deeper and more full and profound sense of God's presence in and through His created world, most notably with your own body. Even as it decays. As Paul himself recognized in 1 Corinthians, he says, even though outwardly we are wasting away, inwardly we are being renewed day by day to another degree of glory. And so there's a sense, Paul is our guide, that we can even expect towards the end of our lives, even in the midst of our of the decaying of our body this side of heaven, an increasing sense of hope and a sense of glory and grandeur in the miracle that is creation and the glory that is seen in there through, by faith to God's renown. And so again, this is what we're doing. This is why we're studying Genesis this year. It's why we're instituting the Catechesis of the Good Shepherd. This is why this will be much of the talk and focus of the various rectors forums. This will be we're going to begin an Advent apace with beginning to tell once again the great story of God's redemptive saving grace for the world. And so we will work the liturgical calendar. We are going to be focused for as long as needed on equipping you, helping ground you in the confidence of Scripture, helping you raise and answer any questions and objections that you may have or your family and friends may have to the faith. We're going to invite you to participate in the Word and Sacrament that has been given to us by God's grace to strengthen us, to encourage us, to enable us to go into the world in peace to love and serve Him. That's what we're going to do. We're excited to announce that we have this conference coming up, as some of you know, and again, you'll see a theme. It's the title of the conference is "To Be Human: Ourselves, Our Souls, and Bodies: Life and Living in the Image of God." That is next February 27th through March 1st, and with a keynote speaker is the Reverend Dr. Hans Boersma, who's written a number of wonderful books. You got it in part on this great question of participating, of seeing ourselves as part of God's good creation, the pinnacle of His creation, and participating in by the Spirit into the life of God, into the kingdom that has come. And so please mark your calendar for that. The Advent series this year is entitled "Thy Kingdom Come," and so you'll see a theme. And we're excited about it because, as I said in the Rector's Forum this past Sunday, I am giving you, we are as your ministry team, providing you the best of what we can do, that at the same time we also know that we ourselves need, and that's our promise and our commitment to you. And so we're grateful for the team, grateful for the opportunity, and look forward to a wonderful fall. Okay, so to that end, I just have a few announcements. I get going and I can't stop. Well, the main announcement I want to draw your attention to is, or two announcements. And they both happen next weekend. September 8th is our ministry fair. So please sign up for that if you haven't done so we know how much food to provide. Food is lovingly being provided by our amazing Hog Heaven barbecue team. I still can't believe that I get to be a part of a church that has a connected meat grilling team, and so that's just awesome. But anyway, so the September 8th, after the 10:30 service, please come. The tables will be set up before the service. For those of you who are coming at 8 o'clock, you'll be able to walk through. You just won't have any food, and there may not be someone there to man the table, but you can see all of the various sign-up things, like like any other. Well, you know how this is going to work. So please let us know if you're coming for lunch, but by any means, come walk through the tables and see all the various offerings that are available here at St. Luke's. And then stick around, or not stick around, come back on Monday if you're a man, and if you have a friend who's a man, invite him. This is a wonderful outreach for the BMOC, the Being Men of Christ. We are going shooting. We're going to go skeet shooting, I think, out at the Operation Patriot Front FOB, which I now know means Forward Operations Base. But anyway, there's a lot of information about that, but mark your calendars. I believe I'm going to have to pause it because I don't know this. Okay, sorry about that, but it was worth it because there's some details that I have just found out, which are very important. This will be at Operation Patriot Forward Operation Base, OPFOB in Ridgeland. This is one of the ministries to veterans that our Church Mouse generously supports, just for your information. But we are going to be meeting. It's at 4 o'clock. It costs $20. It's about an hour and 10 minutes away. But there will be a carpool that will be leaving here at St. Luke's that will be leaving here. First carpool leaves at 2:50 for shooting. Second carpool departs at 4:20. Now, the situation is we're going to shoot at 4. Then we are going to have dinner at 5:30. We're going to tour. Then 6:30 we're going to have dinner. And the Hog Heaven guys are going to make a Low Country Boil. They're all over the place. I love it. Thank you, guys. You're warms my heart, and many people's hearts, and fills our bellies. At any rate, but we're also going to hear talk from our own John Wigington. If you've not yet met Wiggy, you are in for a treat, and he's got an amazing testimony, amazing story to God's persistence, resilience, grace, mercy, and goodness and love, and it's just something amazing and wonderful. So we hope you bring a friend. Please, if it costs $20, if cost is a problem, just let me know, and scholarships are available, but we would love to have as many of our own men, and perhaps men that are interested in considering, the fellowship and the joy of being part of St. Luke's, to bring them along. Okay, all the other announcements you can find in the e-zine that's coming out. Also, the bulletin can be downloaded beforehand. It's all on the internet, all on the website, and so we're grateful. Pray that you have a good and relaxing Labor Day weekend, and we'll see you this Sunday, but we certainly want to see you back this fall, and look forward to an amazing year of watching the Lord by His Spirit continue to re-enchant us to His goodness, His mercy, and His love. All right, take care. God bless.